Hello, and welcome to a Breaking It All Down Let's Play, Part 2 of the Let's Play for, well, Genji Days of the Blade. This is our save point in the game. I actually passed one of these earlier and didn't recognize the save point at the time. You may have saw this in the last video. So let's actually get the game saving out of the way right now. I did install the game before I get started. I am going to suspect that probably this system data saving stuff would probably take a little longer to do without installing. Yep, and here's Benkei's big thing he brings to the party is he can smash through barriers. Like, for example, there was the one I saw earlier which I wasn't able to smash through with my sword. Smash it this way. Now you either do the main attack with which is the square button for this, or you also hold down the triangle. Actually, for this, it'd probably be more effective if I held down the triangle button. I don't quite like Benkei as a character. While he's strong, he has very, very slow attacks compared to everyone else. But I do like his kind of reach and his broad sweep attacks. And there's this gal. Okay, I still... really? Knee boots, mini skirt, yet somehow combined with midriff bearing armor. That does not vaguely begin to resemble anything practical. I'm calling BS on that. Okay, here we go. We start fighting. I mean, theoretically, if you level up Benkei's weapon a little bit, he can really clear house with this. But as it stands now, he's just weak enough in his attacks that he can't kill people in one hit, which actually is a bit of a nuisance because at which point you can get mobbed. Although I find his attacks really inaccurate. Everyone's attacks are kind of inaccurate in other ways as well, but some are worse than others. Yeah, this actually isn't useful as far as the tutorial goes until later. I'm not sure if I accidentally triggered this tutorial now, or if this was a later in the game thing. I don't know. This guy's setting it up for later, after you get to this big boss fight. Yeah, kind of the good strategy for this fight, sort of. I'm not doing it here. Benkei is basically, if he can charge up his triangle attack, he can more easily rip through everybody. Yeah, the Kamui gauge there, yeah, we covered that last time. Honestly, unfortunately, with a few things on here, the two numbers on the bottom. The one on the right is basically your XP, which you use for leveling up your weapons. The one on the left is for orbs that let you level up your vitality and your Kamui meters to boost your hit points and magic points. I'm going to cut this short briefly. There we go, and we're back. Sorry about that there, must have been drawn away. I was pausing when my video recording when I didn't. My bad. So we continue wading through these ineffective, well, somewhat effective, they're doing damage, obnoxious minions. So, I don't know, it's actually been a while since I recorded this footage. But recall, if you trigger Kamui and you land every hit, you get a healing item. Not like the little healing orbs that are being dropped here, but an actual straight healing item. As far as the orbs go, from what I've figured out, is that the healing orbs are dropped by normal enemies when you kill them after having taken some damage. But the actual demon enemies who give you your XP do not drop these in favor of you getting XP. it kind of makes for a really weird situation in terms of gameplay, where the enemies who give you XP actually end up being more difficult because they don't give you healing, and that's so you slowly get drained, which encourages you ultimately to use your Kamui meter, because if you get a perfect on the little Kamui QuickTime event cutscene, you get a healing item. So that's how you get your healing items from there. It's a weird mix, honestly. And I'm not quite sure what I think about that. It's somewhat balanced-ish, but not really. Because it ties everything down to QuickTime events. Alrighty. And now we finally have a party together, sort of. So this leads to the game's other main mechanic we'll discuss here is you have party members. You can switch between them using the directional pad. If your active combatant dies, then it's game over, and it sends you back to the last save point. As you may have noticed, there are no actual checkpoints here, and as we normally think of them, it's just based on the save points. Yeah, every these weapons, each one, well, some do more damage than others again. Each one has different attack animations. And ultimately, it's kind of a weird situation of less about the speed of the weapons themselves and more about the attack animation that's used for them that makes them effective. Thus, consequently, for example, for Yoshitsune, his primary weapons, their attack animations are generally a little more effective because he's got the big, broad attack arc in front of him, as opposed to the Devil Sword, which are basically straight line thrusts. And here's where the real problem comes in with this game, is I kind of mentioned the with the dodge stuff, like with a flip there. Dodge animations are tied to your right analog stick, and the camera is fixed. So, consequently, it's really easy to get stuck on enemies which are just off camera, and be in an environment where, for example, you're in an arena and you can't leave the room until you kill everybody, or there are archers just outside the camera and you can't see them, so you're getting peppered to death with arrows of the explosive variety and all sorts of other stuff. And that makes things a real pain in the neck. You also kind of see the problem here where I'm trying to position myself to kick the wagon so I can have Yoshitsune jump over that locked door from earlier. And I'm having difficulty with it because I can't line myself up properly on the wagon to get the kick in. Yeah, there, for example, right there is a really good example of the weaknesses of other characters related to Yoshitsune and his default weapons. Yoshitsune is really the only guy who is really effective at smashing boxes. I mean, you can smash boxes with other guys, but it's much easier to have Yoshitsune lined up on the box. Also, Yoshitsune is generally more useful when it comes to traversal stuff. There are two other characters there's other characters who we get later who have traversal abilities. bust Benkei's ability to smash through barriers, but Yoshitsune really is kind of the MVP of the party, and I mean, honestly, anyone else is just not quite as good, unfortunately. And here I'm kind of saving up the Kamui energy just because I want to save it for like really getting mobbed or big boss fights or that sort of thing. And just carving our way through these archers. And most of these levels, they kind of give you a couple different ways to traverse the levels in terms of obstacles and boss fights and that sort of thing. And look at boss fights in terms of... We'll come to this more later in the game, but there's some areas where you can traverse the level through a jumping puzzle or through some wall running or that sort of thing, in addition to another route which might be be easier from a jumping and platforming standpoint, but is more difficult from a having to carve your way through loads of monsters standpoint. Okay, so that gal wasn't even in the wide shot for the for that cutscene there. From when we came up, we just popped her in. But yeah, from here, really, the most effective way to play this game combat is through using the flipping mechanics. Now, the Essence of Hamagane, that is the item they use to power up your, basically, your health and magic points. Now, this is kind of meant to be depicted as some sort of side thing here. But I don't really... Actually, later on in the game, I don't encounter that many situations where they have these My Ward things. And invisible... And not much invisible, but... Plot barrier keeping me from progressing further here for no good reason. But it does give me a save point, which is nice. And that's why we will kind of call this a level here, and we'll continue on through this first chapter of the game in the next video. So, until next time, I will see you then.